All right, folks, welcome back to the Crisis Report. It's December 3rd, 2025. We are going to be talking about inflation and how it is going to skyrocket. We'll give you some reasoning behind that, but there's all kinds of stuff. It was tough to come up with a title tonight because there's so many different things going on from what's going on in southern part of the hemisphere, South America. Talks with Putin, Middle East, Russia, Ukraine, Taiwan, so many different places, so many little flashpoints, so little time. So, we're going to take you through it. That's what we do here. That's a crisis report. If you guys could give me a little love and hit the like button and do all the subscribe things and all that kind of stuff, that'd be great. We're also on X and we are on Kick. I don't know if you're familiar with Kick. Someone said you should get on there. I'm doing it. I'm on there. So we're going to get on to multiple places. We're going to turn this thing into something pretty cool. Bad Bobber, member for 27 months. That's awesome. Thank you. Speaking of which, you can become a member like Bad Bobber or Water Tiger. We like that. Gene W. It helps the channel. It's one of the few things I've noticed that actually does help the channel. The more people you have being members and stuff, the less they are to kind of mess with you. So there's little things you got to do on this fabulous platform known as YouTube. So, all right, well, let's get started. We're not going to get real long-winded. Got a couple minutes in, got kids coming in the classroom. So let's get started on your crisis report. Inflation is going to skyrocket. Gene, thank you, member for 16 months. Yeah, we're just trying to keep you guys informed, get you the information in a nice, quick, easy way. 20 to 30 minutes. Strap on the earbuds, listen to all that's going on. Fully evolved, good news. And then from there, you can decide what you need to do. So that is what the crisis report is all about. So let's get started. Here we go. Spain has reinstated mandatory masks in healthcare facilities following warnings about rising flu cases as winter has approached. Zuckerberg allegedly said child safety was less important than building the metaverse. Does not surprise me. Speaker Mike Johnson says he believes members of Congress should be allowed to own stocks. President Trump has reversed the Biden-era vehicle fuel efficiency rules, a move expected to save Americans up to $109 billion and more than $1,000 per car. It's kind of nice, yeah? FBI headquarters is moving to launch a seditious conspiracy probe into 6 Democratic lawmakers who urge military personnel to ignore what they call unlawful orders from Trump. Alex Karp's Palantir shifting the course to play key role in ICE deportations through its own immigration OS or operating system. Interesting. MyPillow CEO Mike Lindell is going to file paperwork to run for Minnesota governor. I miss Jesse the Body Ventura, personally, as a Minnesota governor. He was fun to watch. Also made some good TV and movies. Democrats in the House Oversight Committee released more pictures and video of Epstein's Island. The photos, videos are not new. They were released previously by James O'Keefe earlier this year. So anybody sitting there going, ooh. Salvador Plasencia, doctor who pleaded guilty to supplying ketamine to deceased Friends actor Matthew Perry, has been jailed for 2.5 years. Good. Daily Wire co-founder Ben Shapiro says that algorithms are destroying America. More time you're spending on X, maybe the less informed you are, and also the more out of touch with reality you are. Possibly. Maybe, maybe not. Depends on what you're doing with it, folks. Just like anything. If you're using this to inform yourself and get a multiplicity of views from unconventional sources, it'll serve you well. You're the same people all the time. You get the, confirmation bias news. It's not good. Israel completes its record $4.6 billion defense export to Germany, handing over Arrow 3 missile defense systems to Holzdorf Air Base. Israel's ambassador to Germany says our partnership is strategic and Germany's Israel is Israel's most important ally in Europe. Trump is scrapping the Biden fuel economy standards. Pentagon watchdog reports that U.S. Defense Secretary Hegseth potentially endangered troops' safety by discussing sensitive military operations on the unsecured Signal app. Moving on. More than 1 million bags of cheese sold at Walmart, Target, and Aldi have been recalled for possibly containing metal pieces, with the FDA reclassifying the recall as a Class 1, meaning the food may cause temporary or medically reversible adverse health consequences. Didn't sound good. Didn't sound like the kind of thing I want floating around in my body. You know what I find interesting about all this is that Aldi, Walmart, and Target basically all have the same cheese purveyor. It's almost like all of our food doesn't really matter. It's all the same. UN General Assembly adopted a resolution declaring Israel's occupation and de facto annexation of Syria's Golan Heights region illegal and calling for its withdrawal from the area. Wyckoff and Kushner were supposed to meet with Zelensky in Brussels today, but canceled the meeting. Kremlin claims that the allegedly promised to return to Washington immediately after the talks with Putin. NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang tells Joe Rogan that Trump saved the AI economy industry. If not for his pro-growth energy policy, we would not be able to fulfill or build factories for AI. We would not be able to build chip factories. So, there you go. Supersonic F-16 fighter jets crashed near Trona Airport in California. U.S. wireless carrier AT&T is committed to ending DEI programs. Facebook parent Meta says it's starting to remove users under age 16 from Australia. Venezuelan President Maduro says he had a conversation with President Trump about 10 days ago. Venezuela's President Maduro says steps are being taken towards a respectful dialogue between both countries. Tens of thousands of mostly Gen Z protesters flooded Sofia and major Bulgarian cities, rallying against the government's proposed 2026 budget. They denounced it as unfair and opaque. Demonstrators, many of them students, have blocked central boulevards, marched on ruling party headquarters, and clashed with police amidst calls for the budget to be withdrawn and for the government to resign. Former Venezuelan Chavista intelligence chief Hugo El Pollo Carvajal sends a letter to President Trump in which he confessed 2 decades of narco-terrorism, espionage, and electoral manipulation. And he seems to have implicated Maduro, Caballo, y personas en la policía. So, we shall see. Hugo El Pollo Carvajal, former intelligence chief for Chavismo, sent President Trump a letter in which he reveals Cartel of the Suns had a deliberate purpose of sending drugs to harm the United States. The plan was suggested by Cuba. He witnessed how the regime armed and funded the Tren de Aragua. Maduro expanded the criminal structure and took advantage of Biden's immigration policy to infiltrate the United States. There are Venezuelan spies infiltrated in the United States. Smartmatic is a global fraud system and has had an impact in the United States. Okay, that's what El Pollo has said. Trump ties Venezuelan Tren de Aragua cartel to U.S. sleaze-back governor. That would be Polis of Colorado. IBM CEO says there's no way spending trillions on AI data centers will pay off. AI companies are spending billions on data centers in the race to AGI. IBM CEO Arvind Krishna has some thoughts on the math behind those bets. Data center spending is on the rise. During Meta's recent earnings call, words like capacity and AI infrastructure were frequently used. Google just announced that it's also coming out with a major set of chips. Seems to me the increasing talk about bird flu viruses and mutations should be regarded as an admission that the financial system might be having troubles and they need a nice panic so they can seize the banking cartel and orchestrate another colossal bailout and all of the such things. Ultimate result of the intervention will be an accelerating rate of inflation. Hey, that's what they're calling this. Inflation will skyrocket, which might reach hyperinflationary proportions. Britain, EU, and Japan are probably at greatest risk. Remains to be seen, however, they may be able to pull it off. Another lockdown all back in 2020. Most people were unprepared to believe, basically unprepared to disbelieve the authorities. They couldn't imagine that their public health officials, politicians, and media would participate in such mass formation psychosis. For that part, the Honorable Baroness Heather Hullett, DBE, left most of them unanswered. Her central concern was why the 2020 experience was a train wreck and how to lock us down good and proper next time. Yeah. Good luck. World's biggest YouTuber, Mr. Beast, is going to launch a financial services platform. That's cool. Venezuela, Caracas tensions, downtown area, Miraflores palace with a heavy military and police presence. Next few days will be critical. Concerning the U.S., Venezuela, Trump is now committed to backtrack. His possible paths forward are inaction, resulting in a loss of face. No, we won't do that. Deeper military escalation, risking a quagmire like Vietnam. Achieving regime change through a fifth column, opposition fraction, CIA covert. Or executing limited strikes, then halting and spinning the narrative as a victory against drug cartel trafficking. I'm seeing 1 or 4. Just saying. Russia is winning and will dictate the terms of peace. This telegraph piece, people were pissed at. No amount of outraged protest by EU Foreign Minister Kaja Kallas will change that. European leaders can develop any alternative peace plans, but the only one that really matters is Putin's. Russia troops are steadily advancing on the ground, and missiles are destroying Ukraine's energy sector. Ukraine could not win despite huge losses and hundreds of billions of dollars of Western aid. Europe does not have a realistic peace plan, nor does it have enough money to supply weapons to Ukraine to continue the conflict. The belief that the Russian economy will collapse due to sanctions is just magical thinking. The United States is taking decisive action in response to the atrocities against Christians in Nigeria. The Department of State will restrict U.S. visas for those who knowingly direct, authorize, fund, support, or carry out violations of religious freedom. The visa policy applies to Nigeria and other governments of individuals that persecute people for their religious beliefs. And so, there you have it. Russia officially banned Roblox, claimed that the ban is due to extremism, terrorism, propaganda, and LGBT content. Venezuela's President Nicolas Maduro has ramped up personal security, switching beds, phones, relying more on Cuban guards as he faces what he sees as the most serious threat of his 12-year rule, possible U.S. military action under Trump. Despite publicly projecting calm with surprise appearances, TikTok videos, people close to the government describe growing tension inside their inner circle. Clinton's back, says TikTok and totally made up videos are shaping young people's views on Israel and Palestine. Family of Iranian diplomats and other non-essential staff have been evacuated from Caracas, Venezuela, Iran International reports. IDF confirms carrying out an airstrike in southern Gaza's Khan Yunis a short while ago, saying it targeted a Hamas operative in response to the attack on troops. Earlier today, the Hamas terror organization committed a blatant violation of the ceasefire agreement, and the 5 soldiers were wounded in the attack, including one seriously. In response to the violation of the ceasefire, the IDF says it struck a Hamas terrorist in the southern Gaza Strip. Military does not elaborate further on the identity of the target. Palestinian media reported that at least 6 were killed in the strike. Canada euthanized a record 16,499 in 2024. Over a period of 1 year, 7 months, Russian army has added 8,300 square kilometers, equivalent to 1.4% of Ukraine's total territory, to areas under its control. And our inflation is here. The Fed has no option. Inflation will hit 3%. Fed must cut rates to save U.S. consumers. Consumers are struggling while large cap stocks are soaring. More rate cuts are coming into one of the hottest stock markets in history. Own assets are to be left behind, according to the Kobe's letter. I would agree with that. S&P 500 is now 0.9% away from record high. Fear and greed index has just exited extreme fear, but remains 27. At least the last time the S&P 500 was at a record high, index was nearly double as high. S&P 500 to 5,000, 7,000 on the horizon. Affordability of necessities in the United States is continuing to deteriorate since January 2021. Food away from home prices have surged 28%, all-time high. Shelter prices have also risen 27% over the same period, setting a record. Food at home and services other than rent have skyrocketed. And that, my friends, is your crisis report for December 3rd, 2025. We appreciate you being here. Consider becoming a member. Consider joining us nightly as we have these conversations. And we hope you're having a good one. Find us on Twitter, Minds, Gap, Truth, X, subscribe to our locals, and then, of course, there's Substack, where you get a full detailing of what was said here with links. We hope you have a great night, and we will see you on the next one. God bless. See you tomorrow.